that intro hasn't gotten a removal yet.
Yeah, well, I mean, it says like all the stuff that you're not supposed to say on YouTube.
Plus, it's
Plus,
literally
it's literally him doing crack. Yeah. I think they're too busy taking down all the other Hunter crack videos that they're like, no, we gotta get rid of the all the exposure. And they see that they see this clip, they're like, okay, we're just gonna let that go because like it's not as bad as him actually dancing in front of hookers and everything.
every time you run that one, I've wondered, is this going to be the one where they finally flag this and take the episode down? That hasn't happened yet. Now, if we actually showed like the pictures of Malia
Oh
Obama's
yeah,
card, and then it would probably get taken down because you can't be linking the Obamas to any of Hunter's debauchery.
yeah. Yeah, didn't she like there was pictures like part of the pictures like was there was a picture of like her like he took a picture of her panties, didn't he, or something like that? Like
I mean, there's one
or a
picture that
thong or something.
yeah, there's one picture that looks very distinctly like her laying on the bed behind him naked. So
Yeah. He's a weird dude for sure. Like that's what you gotta do. You gotta have this elite inbreeding though.
yeah, that's one way of looking at that. Well, I mean, on the one hand, you've got that type of inbreeding, and then on the other hand, you've got the hooker that Hunter was banging that he has a kid by. So supposedly, this is what I'd heard. I don't have any articles or anything to back it up. This is just
Rumor. Yeah.
folks talking at work, and what I had heard was that Hunter is fighting to get his child support to that chick reduced. So
Yes. So I think there was an article about that.
They claim that it's an illegitimate child, or that it's not his kid. Hunter or Joe won't claim the kid, but I mean, I know they held guys responsible for kids that aren't there to pay child support, but it seems like in that case they would probably do a DNA test.
Yeah, here's an actual. Let me pull up an article. There's one that actually talks about it here. Yeah, he's fighting to get it reduced. Let's see.
Isn't he supposed to pay like $20,000 a month or something?
I forget. I thought it was like half of that at least, but let's see.
Shit, $20,000.
Oh yeah, 20,000 a month here. Yeah, it is 20,000 a month. It says here. I thought it was just like 10, but yeah. Legal team confirmed that they were seeking continued payments of 20,000 a month so that 4-year-old Navy Joan Roberts could enjoy the same lifestyle and quality of life as her half sibling and cousins who are members of the Biden family. Filing came redacting financial information, had accused the formerly highly paid lobbyist of hiding his money. I don't know about that. Let's see. Arkansas court. Let's see. Hunter is under federal investigation. He's not in any federal investigation. Like, let's be real. There's just no there's no investigation going on into Hunter, because if they did, they would have already busted him and put him in jail for everything that he's done. Because there was all kinds of corruption. So
they just have to posture and pretend they're investigating him, even though the FBI was literally sitting on his laptop for months,
ages. Yeah.
Before the New York Post thing even became a thing. And then after that, they scrambled to deny that it even existed, while there was actual evidence that they had it in their custody.
Here, apparently he's already paid $750,000 in support. She's asking for $20,000 a month more than that. Holy crap, she is like primo gold digger here. I mean, $750K, like you should be living a pretty decent life. Like I don't know.
way around. I thought he was trying to fight it to get it reduced.
Well, his legal team is claiming that he's already paid her 750,000, but he is fighting to get the monthly support reduced. I guess he's already paid so much, and he's trying to say like, hey, I've already paid so much that I shouldn't have to pay 20,000 a month. I think that's what basically what it boils down to.
I mean, I guess. I don't know.
But like Hunter's finally acknowledged her, but obviously like Joe hasn't acknowledged her at all. Like completely ignores that fact. But yeah, they got like I think they got like a picture of him. Yeah, him.
Joe probably ignores this one because the mom won't let him take showers with her.
I mean, that's probably true. Look, this prima donna, like, oh, this prima donna is already raising another prima donna. Oh, look this is a God, dude. This is horrible.
She'll be a gold digger too.
Yeah. She's gonna see mommy stripping, and she's gonna be like, "Ooh, that's what I want to do," because mommy makes a lot of money.
She no broke.
Yeah, I mean, ain't gonna be no broke hoe.
Oh, 2Bit6, tag him in. Send him a link.
Oh yeah, yeah. Hold on.
I mean, we can continue to talk while you do that, I assume.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think Hunter will ever have any consequences for any of that like stuff at all.
No,
Like,
that's the way being a child of the politically connected works. It doesn't matter what he does. I'll never actually see any consequences of it. And
I do wonder too, like the amount of the Ukraine situation, because it is weird that we're sending so much support to Ukraine after his Joe's son, Hunter, obviously, since Hunter was employed through Burisma or whatever. It is weird that we are given so much support, especially even whenever it seems like a futile effort, because Russia seems like they're just going to decimate the rest of Ukraine if they're not careful.
is it weird though? Because the U.S. government and politicians have been using Ukraine to funnel money and basically launder all of their dirty money for a fucking decade. So it's not like it should be weird or surprising in any way.
Well, I would think they would do it somewhere else, Like I would think they would at least spread it out. Like I guess what I'm saying is it looks more blatant whenever it's going to Ukraine. Hunter is the president's son who worked for a company in Ukraine.
They don't care how blatant it is. They know that you know, and they're going to do it anyway because there's nothing you can do to stop them.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking tactically how I would operate it. If I really didn't want the public to know, if I really wanted to be like super shady about it, I would just have multiple countries, and that's probably some of the gender studies in Pakistan kind of stuff. Where they're laundering money too, probably.
Sitting here on the floor, I now understand why women scrub the baseboards.
See, I thought it was for other reasons. They were just trying to get down enough to.
They're trying to seduce you. That's what it is.
Yeah.
She doesn't actually want to scrub those baseboards. She just wants to stick her ass up in the air and think,
yeah, that's it.
Give that a good firm smack.
Yeah. Get the action started.
We are the products of a bygone era. Smack your woman on the ass. And nobody thought anything of it.
Yeah. Now, if you did the crowd abuse or whatever, abuse.
If your kids don't get a room at least once a day, are you even really happily married?
Definitely not.
Speaking of Ukraine, you got anything pulled up for the hit attempt on Vladimir Putin? I thought there was a video.
Oh, there was. I didn't know if it was real though. So that was the.
See, I heard different things. I heard there was the drone strike that hit the Kremlin. And then I also heard that there was like a legit assassination attempt, but the dude's gun jammed or something. And
See,
I
I've
don't
only saw the Kremlin strike. That's the only one that I've seen so far. I didn't see anything about the gun jamming.
I don't know. I've been largely off of social media this week because just dealing with stuff
Real
here.
life stuff. Yeah, here's the supposed attack on the Kremlin. I think this isn't the good video though. There was one that actually shows it like something intercepting or it exploding prematurely. Let me see if I can find that one. But that's like after the fact. Let's see.
So if this is legit, if Ukraine is actually like making attempts on Putin, and obviously Ukraine doesn't have drones, so that's effectively America waging war.
Yeah, right here. Here's
That's effectively America waging war on Russia.
Yeah. Well, nobody cares about that. That's the weird thing is like I've been saying this like for months is we're basically running the entirety of the war because Ukraine like they don't have anything. That we're running a lot of it behind the scenes where it's just out of sight, basically out of sight and out of mind.
Well, hang on. Okay. A few things to address with this. America's been sending. Donald Trump was sending armaments to Ukraine all throughout his presidency.
Yeah.
It was actually, and then it was.
I mean,
actually,
Obama's been. It goes all the way back through Obama too. Like Obama was doing it as well.
Well, yes and no, because what?
Because that was the whole Crimea thing.
Right, the Americans staged a coup in 2014, but the Russians took Crimea, basically as an act of aggression, and America did nothing. NATO did nothing. What they did instead was start to build up troop armaments because America is thinking all militarily. What Russia did in those 8 years was think economically. So, to understand the Ukrainian situation, you have to understand what the WEF has been saying since about 2008, but certainly since post 2014, which is the WEF has earmarked Ukraine as to be the new breadbasket of Europe for two reasons. One,
they make the most wheat production, probably.
No. They want to build a new super city all the way from Brussels all the way through Amsterdam. So Holland. So they're going to combine Brussels. They're going to basically combine Brussels and Holland into one big super city state. So that's the first thing. This has been stated. This is stated in Klaus Schwab's stuff. The other thing too is that there's a massive fertilizer problem in the world. We're facing a massive fertilizer shortage. In the next 5 years, we're going to be facing global famines all over the world because one of the major things they use fertilizer from is sulfates, and there's a sulfate shortage in most of the world. Where they don't have a sulfate shortage is in Russia, and Ukraine, because it's highly volcanic soil and it's very, very fertile, is basically being earmarked as a new breadbasket of Europe because their whole agricultural system is going to get fucked in the next 5 years. That's what they've been planning for. So when you start to think of Ukraine as an agricultural zone, that's what they're warring for. It explains Bakhmut. It explains a lot of other things. Bakhmut is the first time Russia is now crossing over into fertile land territory, because everything that Russia's taken up to this point has been good for Russia in terms of pipelines and access to the Black Sea and Caspian Sea, right? Sorry, access to the Black Sea. So you can understand it through pipelines, right? I think their major goal is to take Odessa. So everything along the Dnieper to the Black Sea is strategic to them for oil resources feeding into India and China. But now that they're moving past that into fertile lands, now it's a big fucking problem for the WF plan, Because if Russia starts taking agricultural land from them, it fucks their entire thing, and still keeps Russia in the power position of being the world's largest supplier of fertilizer, because they have all of Siberia to mine for fertilizer components. So that's what they're trying to edge them out on. So basically it's a war over shit.
Yeah. Well, see,
it's literally a shit war. When you at first I thought it was oil and resource. It's not. It's literally shit. It's fertilizer. That's what this war is about. When you start to see it in that paradigm, and this is why they're moving towards, you're going to eat bugs. You know why you're going to eat bugs? Because they're worried about there not being enough crops. And because the only way they could naturally transition away from a artificial fertilizer rich agricultural zone plan is to go back to natural farming systems, which takes a
years
while.
of production. Yeah, like they're gonna have to get back to like maybe some of the small farms like here, like individual farmers who like they use they'll just get stuff from like the chicken coop and they'll make fertilizer out of it or whatever.
There's a massive movement in Australia where I live, especially in Western Australia, where agrable land is limited. There's a wheat belt and stuff like that, but there's been a massive move over the last few years into regenerative farming techniques, which is basically just like going back to farming techniques post 150 years ago, where they're sharecropping and the idea of using livestock to basically
fertilize
it's a whole thing. I know enough about it to embarrass myself in conversations with people who know a lot more, but basically
Justin can probably like give a little bit more in
depth. Yeah, please do. But that whole thing to it's not just the technique, it's a mentality that you have to shift the entire agricultural sector into a regenerative farming technique, and even if you're successful in doing that, you're not going to get the same yields. It's just it's not a factory farming kind of technique.
Yeah, they're a lot of those are chemically based, and they have a lot of like things that they've scientifically created to be able to make this like the best fertilizer to produce like higher yields or whatever of everything.
The market demands to have a sustainable or a known yield per year, right? So like they base their entire models of saying we're going to have X, and even on a bad year, we're going to have this much corn or this much wheat or this much that, and you can guarantee that with artificial fertilizer to a greater degree. You take artificial fertilizer out of the equation, suddenly you're into nature zone, which is like, well, some years you're going to have bumper crops and some years you won't. That's just what was just because that's natural. That's a natural order reinstating itself. So because of all that,
this getting pushed into the direction of artificial fertilizers, pushing high yield, stuff like that, is it's pretty widely driven and really started getting driven hard in the early 2000s when the ethanol push and all of that became like a really big deal, because you can't. So we as a country produce more than enough corn, more than we would ever need to use on an annual basis if we're just using it for feed and regular like agricultural purposes. But when they start and for a lot of food stuff, but when they start pushing ethanol, it was, so we were looking at like the math on it, and the amount of corn produced in a year versus the amount of corn it takes to generate the amount of ethanol they were wanting to produce. There was no way to do it. But so because of that started the government funded subsidies for the ethanol industry really pushed the price of corn a lot higher than what it naturally should have been.
Which is why Bill Gates is investing heavily in corn.
And that in turn pushed land prices way up, pushed fertilizer prices way up. So now you're kind of in a position where you would almost bankrupt your farmers if went back to natural, just growing things, doing things like no-till farming and natural fertilizers, stuff like that, you would almost bankrupt your farmers because they wouldn't be able to get the yields that they need just to make the amount of money to pay all their bills. So,
or you have to expand, and you have to have you have to expand your farming network and have more people tilling and farming land. And that makes not all that land is farmable. So
ethanol, and ethanol is the worst. Corn-based ethanol is the worst possible way to make ethanol. It's the least efficient form of ethanol, and it also is highly destructive to the vehicles, to the environment. Like it's not solving any of the problems that they wanted to solve either. The whole thing is a giant crock of shit. But
right, but in terms of investment money, it's short of the dollar, and they can mass produce these things on the pennies of the dollar. It's like, so this has been my. So I'm my family's Ukrainian. I was born in Canada, but I'm been a Ukrainian nationalist since 1989, since Ukraine declared independence. So like this whole period of time in the Russian-Ukrainian war has been a real clusterfuck for me, because on one hand, I'm pro-Ukrainian sovereignty. On the other hand, I look at what's being done, specifically by Zelensky with the Ukrainian church and a bunch of other things, and going, this can't stand. Like, this isn't a nation. The decision now is not about Ukrainian sovereignty. It's about who owns Ukraine at the end of this. Will it be Russia or the West? And unfortunately, I'm in a position of saying that the best case scenario for Ukrainians actually retaining Ukrainian culture and language and all the rest of it is with Russia, which is a real reversal of history. because Catherine the Great was the first one to annex Ukraine back 300 years ago, and outlawed Ukrainian language, culture, all the rest of it. But this isn't then; it's now, and I honestly believe that Putin, of all people, would be more likely to preserve or allow, would more likely to allow, let's say, Ukrainians to preserve their culture than the West will, and that's
because Ukrainian culture. You're like, well, because Ukrainian culture is closely tied to Russian culture. I mean, because of
no, but yeah, it isn't. It isn't. That's a very That's
well,
hyper complicated. It's let's say saying like the Irish and the English are the same people. From the outside, from an outside view, 100% true. From an inside view, murderously wrong. So it's not. Yes, it's a yes no situation. The big thing is this, and this is the attack on the church, which if you're not Orthodox, you could probably gloss over. But here's the important part of it: the Orthodox Church in Ukraine, the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, single-handedly kept Ukrainian language and culture alive for 300 years, when it was outlawed, when it was illegal under the pain of death to speak the language. At some point, so here's something that people don't. When I see these Ukrainian nationalists going after Russian speakers, they had to import, after post 1989, when Ukraine won independence, they had to import Ukrainian speakers from Canada to Ukraine to teach Ukrainians Ukrainian, because no one in the country spoke it. But that language and culture was only preserved by the church. Like the church did that. The Ukrainian Orthodox Church preserved Ukrainian culture and language and everything. A distinct culture separate from Russian for 300 years, and it's now under direct attack by Zelensky and his regime. That's fucked up. Right, the thing that made Ukrainians Ukrainian is now trying to be erased by Ukrainians.
Yeah, kind of par for the course.
And that's just a cultural thing. That's not even the reasons for the war. The other thing too, I'll throw this out because Mark's on hiatus, so we're not doing the live show until he gets back. But with the attack on the Kremlin, I honestly do think it was probably I think it was a false flag. I think that's. I don't believe that the Americans floated a drone into the Kremlin. one of the more heavily defended,
and especially
airspaces.
not successfully landing the drone, like not hitting the target. I guess is
all of it. I think it's all bullshit. But what is interesting is this, and this is, I don't know, man. This is where the narrative is messy. So Zelensky was in Finland when the attack happened. He was supposed to be in Finland for a day. And when the attack happened, immediately after, I'm talking within
he made a statement or whatever,
less than an hour. No, the Finnish authorities made a statement saying he's going to be extending his stay for an undisclosed amount of time, which ended up being an extra day, and then he was flown out to parts unknown until until it was finally revealed he's in Holland at The Hague, getting a tour of The Hague, saying this is where we're going to put Russian. This is where we're going to put Putin when we finally arrest him. Like, you're under guard. So when he flew into Amsterdam, sorry, he flew into Holland. Apparently, he was under, like, the reports I read was he was under intense guard, like to the point where people noted it.
Yeah,
because you now have the ex-president of Russia, and if he's saying it, that it's other people are saying, make him say it. Basically saying, yeah, we're going to go assassinate Zelensky.
I got to bounce, guys.
all right, see you.
Show up and
You're in the other house. Do you have your waders on?
No, fortunately there is no more water in the basement, but other things. So, yep. See y'all Monday.
Don't get no gators in your basement there, kid. I don't know. That's my southern. I don't know.
Wrong state.
You're all the same to me.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen with the war. And to be honest, like
it's not a war.
Well, they said whatever the mobilization, the conflict.
No, but I'm not being a pissy little prick about it. It's not a war. It's something else. It's like it's how people can say it's when people say the communists are taking over or the fascists. It's both. It's yes and both. We're in a new paradigm where it rhymes with the old things, and you can see similarities with the old things, but it's not like formally on the ground level. I think it's communism, right? It's communism for you and me, but it's fascism for the
top,
the elite
well,
structure.
because that's why people have a hard time defining it, because it's like the corporate structure. So like, say all these companies that are imposing everything on the citizens, that's why people are like, well, like people who are looking at it and defining fascism. That company works with the government. What'd you say,
Forte, stop breathing so heavy into your mic, man. You're turning me on.
Yeah, hold on.
It's either that or you're very out of breath. Like, cut down on the smokes, dude.
But yeah, like the companies imposing thing on people that are coming from the government, like it's like with the Pfizer thing and all this kind of stuff. Companies working with the government, people are like, oh, that's fascism. Well, but then also, like, there is
they're nationalizing the banks.
Yeah,
they're nationalizing the banks.
Yeah,
one bank at a time. They're nationalizing all the big banks. That's what is that? Like,
well, they're not nationalizing them. They're just they're bailing them out.
No, they're nationalizing them.
I'm telling you what they're saying. They're saying, oh, we're bailing.
No, I think they're actually saying they're nationalizing them at this point, aren't they?
No, they won't ever say that, because that would actually cause an uproar. But like,
I don't think it would, because they've convinced everyone that if the Democrats are doing it, it's not fascist. If the Republicans are doing it, it's definitely fascist. But if the Democrats are doing it, they're anti-fascist. Like, Antifa's on their side. Well, look, dude. If they're anti-fascist, therefore they can't be fascist. Am I right? Like, that's the level of where Mark, my co-host, put it perfectly. He's like, we're talking to people at grade 5 levels. Like, this is the level of engagement we have.
Well,
with human beings at this point.
What they're using alternative terms though. Like what they're doing is they're saying like, oh, the government seized this bank. Like they're not saying that they nationalized that bank, and they're not even saying that bank will continue to operate. They're saying that the U.S. government is seizing those assets. Is
Sure.
more
What
of
I'm saying is
yeah.
that
I mean, it is de
what I'm saying
facto
is
nationalizing. Yeah.
what I'm saying is that if the Biden administration came out tomorrow and said we are nationalizing these banks, and they would put out reports saying your banks are being nationalized, and that's a good thing.
Good thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone-
me too. Yeah.
Everyone would go along and we go, so I mean, it can't be fascism.
Oh, it's kind of like what people are saying, like is nobody's gonna panic as long as things are going according to plan. Like that's
Yeah. Well, it's
and that's like the recent. I don't know if you've seen. I know you've been distracted with your hater. That's
Can we talk about that? Isn't that the
Yeah.
most brilliant thing? I love it, man.
Dude, I thought it was kayfabe. I literally thought you guys were doing like a kayfabe thing because I kept seeing like you reply to this guy, that guy replies to you, you reply back, and it was like a whole like reply guy thing. I was like, is he doing some kind of kayfabe?
So here's the thing that you have to keep in mind, right? Because of the time difference, I'm replying to these guys like I only really use Twitter during the week, like Tuesday to Friday when I'm working. And I usually do it on smoke breaks. I smoke a lot, so like sometimes it can seem like I'm posting a lot. I'm just on the smoke break.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just like casual shit. I don't care, right? But
that
when
dude's taking it so serious.
Oh, he's taking it so seriously. And
how did this even start? Like, is
so
it
it started. It started off. Maybe I can show it to you. It started off. It started off when I replied. I think it was Peter Quinones. I think I posted this to Justin earlier. Anyways, yeah, it started off because I responded to he responded to something to Pete, talking about this guy who's this Russian philosopher from the 1940s who he called a fascist because the guy in question was a pro-czarist, anti-Bolshevik philosopher writer who eventually praised Hitler for his attack on the communists. And so because of that,
yeah.
and because of that, so of course because of that he's fascist, and because Putin has voiced support for this guy, and gave him proper burial and all this stuff. Of course, Putin's actually the real fascist. It's not the Ukrainian Nazis who are fascists. No, it's Putin who's the real fascist. Right? This is the train of logic.
Putin is a fascist.
Right. Well, and here's the thing: if you want to say Putin's a fascist, I'm all ears. I don't like
Yeah.
Putin. Like I'm not in love with Putin. I've said many bad things about Putin over the years, but if you're going to say that, your level of analysis can't just be like, well, he supported this guy who I call a fascist, and therefore he's so that's. So I basically said, look, if your idea of if you're going to call people fascists who are against the Bolsheviks, you deserve what's coming to you. Right?
Yeah.
That was my initial tweet. And that's where it started. And it got to a point because he's
that
an
just
ANCAP.
triggered him. That just triggered him. Oh yeah, I saw the ANCAP stuff. Yeah. So
he's an ANCAP, right? So he got to a point where I was like, look, I forget how it got to it, but he's demanding me to say something because I know all he really wants me to say is a thing that'll make him do a quote Rothbard, right? And I called him on it. And here's the crazy thing: throughout this entire it's going on for like 3 days now. Through the entire thing, I've told him exactly what I think and B am doing, and he's like miffing on the whole thing. So I've told him point blank, I'm like, can you just skip to the part where you quote me Rothbard? And he's like, no, I want you to tell me. I can't remember the question. Tell me your economic theory on whatever. And I was like, turned to him, I was like, no. Well, I said, okay, I'll do that, but you have to buy me a box of chocolates and send it to me.
Oh, that's where the chocolates came from.
Yeah.
It's like if I do this thing, okay, I got
Yeah,
you.
I'll do it. I'm actually stealing it from Andrew Tate because I just watched an amazing thing where he did it to a BBC reporter, and I was like, all right, it's fine. I'll answer your question if you send me a box of chocolates.
Yeah.
And that's what the market demands. The market demands a box of chocolates for my response. It's just that's free market capitalism. I don't know what's your problem is.
That's that's a perfect reply to somebody like
And
that.
I've been playing with him ever since. Here's the I don't want to get too high minded on this because I've basically been calling him a fucking nerd. So I'm like
Yeah.
let's not
It's not big brain.
I'm not fucking Rimbaud on this, right? But part of the thing I'm doing now is I'm playing a meta game with him because what he wants something. He wants
A
me.
particular response. Well, I mean,
he-
that's how all these like reply guys are. Is like they want a particular response, and if you don't give that particular response, like you can play this game forever. Like,
Well, that's it, right? So I realize that you want something.
does
It's
he
it,
needs
he
he
needs
needs you
it.
to say yeah, like
He needs me to say the thing, right?
yeah.
He needs me to say the thing so that he can then do his thing. And he can't do his thing. He can't win unless he can't be validated unless I say the thing. And so I'm like, I'm
And
not
if you
saying the
opt,
thing.
it's one of those cases where if you opt out of the game, it's prolonging the game because he thinks that
I don't
there's
have
a certain
to.
point. Yeah, you don't have to play, but I'm
I
saying,
win. I win no matter what.
yeah,
So here's the thing. Because his desire for my response outweighs my desire to give the response. Because I
yeah,
already know what he's going to do. So it's
yeah.
like it's boring to me. The only thing that makes it interesting to me is baiting him with a box of chocolates. So it's like, if you send me a box of chocolates under these parameters, because then he finally said, "All right, send me your name and your address," because he's fucking retarded, and
Yeah.
I'll send you a box.
Well,
I'm like,
autistic.
right. And I was like, okay, no. I said, no, fine. No, that's not how it's going to work. Tell you what, if you take a picture of you with a box of chocolates with a receipt and a notice of send of sending it, right, or or whatever, I will send you a PO box and a place to send it to, and then once I receive the box of chocolates, I will then be available to answer your question. And then he squirted about it. Oh, I'm like, no, that's that.
That's literally
And
that's
then
like especially for someone like who's like a free market. Okay, like okay, well, we're agreeing to terms. This is basically you're signing the contract, right? Yeah, this is the social like the social agreement that we're having here. You're like on social media. It's like we're making an agreement, and if you abide by this agreement, then the terms will be met, and we'll be able to continue.
right. So this is where it gets so beautiful, right? Because I'm playing the game, and again, I don't care. I don't care about
It's up to you.
fulfilling his need, right? Let me see if I can do this. I don't know if I can do this from here.
We're talking about
Okay,
Jason's hater.
So then a buddy of his chimed in. Let me read this. And this is in response to me saying, I want proof that you're sending this thing. And this guy chimed in and said, when you buy from Amazon, you either accept their delivery methods or you don't get their products. Bezos isn't taking a picture of every product he sells, holding a newspaper to verify the date, and yet you probably still get him you probably still give him your address and money. To which I responded, one, dude's not Amazon, the guy I'm talking to that
Yeah.
I'm asking to send me chocolates. Two, when I order from Amazon, I do get a photo of my of my item.
Confirmation of the order. Yeah,
Confirmation of the order
everything.
being received and sent by whom, and a tracking number and expected delivery date. If something goes wrong with my order from Amazon, I have Amazon has an incentive to fix it or reimburse me. And if you think me sending some random nerd on the internet my home address is a good idea, then you do it. Like,
Yeah,
do
yeah.
that.
Just self-dox
No.
yourself. Dox
Yeah.
yourself just
Yeah.
publicly.
And also, again, following within ANCAP philosophy, look, you made a demand for a service. I'm setting a price and setting terms for that service.
Yeah.
I think that's just Austrian economics 101, man. It's free market exchange. It's completely consensual. Like you can consent to, and if you say you don't want to do it, then take the L and seethe. I don't care. Like, you'll never get my answer then. Yeah. I already know my answer. I'll tell you offline because if this little Spurg ever watches this, I don't want him to get a free one. But,
Yeah.
I already know my answer and it's perfect. But
Yeah.
no. It's good. I've been having fun with it. I'm going to take the weekend off. I'm going to let him, I'm probably going to let him know if see, my thing now is that I know I can't be the one to assert anything. I have to. It has to be response. So I have to wait for him to respond to it. And I've been every single day I've been waking up going, is this the day he just finally drops this? Because like it's stupid. I would have dropped this like
Yeah,
a while back.
yeah.
But he keeps going. I'm like, good. The more you keep going, give me where's my
See,
box of chocolates? Like,
I go to two responses. Like if it's the second response and they continue being bad faith, I either like it depends on how bad faith they're being. If they're being bad faith enough, I block. And if they're otherwise, if they're just being a troll, then I just ignore it because it's not worth it.
I don't know what's been going on my feed for the last like 2 weeks. I blame Mark for being on vacation. I seem to be picking up a slack. I get all the Spurs now. He usually gets all this shit. I don't usually field this stuff. But the one before this too, I made a comment, a pretty innocuous comment on someone who said was blaming Justin Trudeau for taking her career.
Yeah.
3 years out of COVID, and my comment was like, well, if someone could take your career from you, it probably
Oh,
wasn't
then
yours.
you don't. Yeah, it wasn't yours. Yeah, I saw
Wasn't
that.
yours.
And then there were a lot of people who were really mad. I mean,
Complete jerk, yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, I get where they're coming from because like it, like there is some level of yeah.
Here's the thing, Trey. I'm open to anyone, you or anyone, right? Saying, I disagree, and here's why I disagree, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I will, and if I think it's badly, if I've badly worded something, or if you know me, like we've had these discussions, like I will gladly clarify or even retract something. Like my ego's not involved in this stuff. It's fucking Twitter. Like what the fuck do I give a shit? But
just words,
Twitter's
like you're posting words. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
No, exactly. But my thing is if your entry into that is being insulting or like literally I'm talking to a 2-year-old, I'm going to treat you like a fucking 2-year-old from now on. Now I'm not going to clarify. I'm not going to back down. I'm not going to be amicable. I'm going to go what the fuck did you just say? What? Amazon doesn't use a newspaper. What the fuck are you talking about? Like what? Go away, you child. Like that was a number 5 on that point was like, don't chime in on conversations you obviously are not equipped for. Like, it just for some reason my feed's been full of fucking retards lately, and normally I just kind of ignore it. I don't know if that Cyprian thing just kind of set me off a few weeks ago, but now I'm like in full battle mode. Like, no, you know what? Fuck this. If you're retarded, I'm going to tell you I'm going to explain to your how you're retarded, and you still don't get it. Then I'm going to play games with you because I find it amusing. And that's kind of where we're at. But day 3 into send me a box of chocolates. I urge everyone to go watch that Andrew Tate thing. No matter what you think of Andrew Tate, doesn't matter. Watch the Andrew Tate thing where he asks the BBC reporter to bring a box of chocolates and then holds him hostage outside of his gates for like basically 2 days. It's genius. It's one of the funniest things I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, whether you like him or not, his the way he handles reporters is phenomenal. Like, because he doesn't care. Like he acts like he doesn't care, and then it makes them more upset. Like that's the fun thing about that is that a lot of the times that when they care so much, your lack of caring about what they have to say makes them more frustrated.
It just makes them so mad. It just makes them so mad. I don't know. The best handling of a reporter lately was Elon with that the reporter a couple weeks. That was, I probably watched that 20 times. That was just the most brilliant way to handle them. Like, just keep asking the same question. That you turn it on to them, make them put them on their heels, make them go into defense mode, and they just look like the fucking morons that they are.
What it is, it comes down to like false leverage, right? Where you have, and I'm doing it in that microcosm with that Wignut, but people have this weird idea that they have leverage on you. Like they're gonna demand you answer something, or they're gonna just state something like and you have to deal with that. I'm like, no, wait. First of all, you have no leverage over me. Like, this isn't. What are you paying me? Like, do I owe you money? Like, what's our relationship here? Oh, our relationship here is actually that I have something that you want. I can validate your existence. You can't. So I had the power in this situation. And if I want to use it, I can use it to fuck with you really easily.
And the worst way to handle it is the way that like Matt Walsh has been handling the recent situation. that
Oh
he's-
yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah.
that's stupid. Like because he's taken all these people like super like serious when he should like it would be better if he would just troll them. Like like that would be the better response than to sit there and go, well, this is not specifically my take. My take is no. You sound pretty gay, dude. Like
My
Also-
favorite part
like-
of Twitter, the favorite thing to do on Twitter is when people are like, answer me. They'll say it 3 or 4 times, answer me. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to answer you now because I know it's driving you more nuts than if I actually answer
No.
you.
So Steve, here's a new thing. Andrew Tate, full credit to Andrew Tate for starting this. But here's a new thing. I'm continuing this. Here's a new thing. The next time someone demands you answer me, give me the answer, answer me. Just turn and go. I will answer you, but you have to send me a box of chocolates.
I came in late on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's
that's what his hater he's been baiting him. He said, hey, I'll have these specific criteria that if you show me you've taken a picture of it and I'll send you a PO box to send it to and all this kind of stuff. And the guy's like, no, you're just supposed to send me your address. It's just like, no, he's Jason's just like, no, I'm not doing this.
The Dave Chappelle line, every time I go onto Twitter, I repeat the Dave Chappelle line to myself. This is not real life. This is Twitter. Like,
but
because
more
I would
importantly,
get so upset and so mad and like I would start fighting, and now I'm like, I just don't care. Like as soon as somebody starts
See,
fighting,
when people say
I'll block them.
when people say it's not real life, I do think it is partially real life because there is some subsection of like the population that has basically turned a lot of this online discourse into real life action. That's why the Twitter discussion about the homeless guy in New York City has turned into real life mobilization of people because of those kind of discussions. I think.
You really think it was on Twitter? I think it was George Soros.
Well, I mean, probably both, but I mean, like what I'm saying is a lot of those the discussions about these are facilitated online now more than ever, so they are affecting real life. It's not directly a correlation of what real life is because you can that's why you can make a distinction between this and real life, but there is a lot of like people believe they really will believe stuff and they really will take the online world as serious as the real world. That's why they're so upset because they think that this is legitimately you like taking the piss like in their face. Like that's exactly what they think it is. Like, oh, you're taking the piss. Like if somebody was doing that in front of you, if they were just mocking you and making fun of you to your face, then yeah, they're taking it as serious as that.
and in 2014 it worked.
Yeah.
Because I know I used to was more on Facebook than Twitter, and I know I would get in these arguments, and you would feel like it'd be the kind of argument you would be having if you were at a bar talking to somebody. That's how I
Yeah.
approached it. So you'd want to get the last word, or you wouldn't accept that.
Yeah.
You're walking into these discussions thinking you're on the same level, or giving the person that benefit of the doubt or that allowance in the conversation, because usually that's how you do it in real life. He's like, if I used to be a bartender, like, or even just I spent a lot of my time in my 20s and 30s in bars talking to random people, and the way you have those conversations is you treat everyone on your level. You can't come across if you're starting to present yourself as higher than them, it's not going to end well, right? So I think a lot of online conversations were stuck with that. And some people were just very good at early manipulation of that tactic of subverting that thing. We're at a point now where the men of the room have got to stand and going, look, we're not equals, man. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
treating you as an equal. If you say something that's obviously fucking stupid, and I know exactly the next 20 things at your mouth,
Mhm.
I don't have to treat you like an equal because you're not an equal. And oh, you're saying you're better than me? Yes, I'm saying that I'm better than that person. Like,
Yes.
I'm clearly better than that person, and I'm not, I don't say that to show
Like
my own
pride.
shoes. It's just,
Yeah.
it's just, come on, like at
Say
some point.
pridefully, it's okay. It's okay to say
No,
it pridefully because you
well,
are.
no, from
these
an Orthodox
people,
perspective, I'm not, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it's like, come on, like, yeah, we comparing
Well,
a fucking
it's
Hyundai
like
with Ferrari. Oh my God.
well, it's like it's like you understand the hierarchy of like the online discourse. Like, okay, you're clearly an idiot, so therefore, like, I know that I am actually better than you. That's why some people like take the pride thing a little bit weird, because like I do think that saying you're better than someone, especially at a particular thing, like I don't see that as prideful necessarily, other than like if you're trying to like, I don't know, like try to rub something in or whatever. I think just telling someone like it is, like, hey, look, I like I'm doing better than you. I don't see any problem with that, especially online discourse, because people will be so hateful about everything.
the point is when people will purposely lie to make a point, then you are better than them. When they will manipulate the truth, when they will twist the truth to say whatever they want to say to make you feel like you're bad or you're wrong, or try to manipulate you, then yeah, fuck them. You are better.
Yeah, let me just share this. This is from the midpoint in the if I can. Can I show this? If not, I'll just read it out. I don't think I can show this.
Oh wait, let me see. It's right here. There we go.
There. So I said a tweet. Can we just jump to the part where you quote Rothbard? These 2014 political rhetorics are old and boring. Say something original or at least entertaining. And that's your response. I still haven't heard. You still haven't answered my question. I wonder why you keep dodging. And this is like this is the tweet before I start getting to demanding a box of chocolates. But I'm like, because we all know if I say anything less than 100% approved ANCAP econ theory, you'll cry communist or fascist. You're not interesting. You're a coward that would abandon your pet ideology the minute it gets branded far right. If I wanted to talk to Dave Smith, I wouldn't waste my time with one of his proxies. Like,
that probably.
Who is this?
Just some random troll. Like,
he
replied to Pete.
Find it on Twitter. We'll link you on Twitter if you want to. Just it's now going into day 3 of this, where I'm just baiting him into like. Now I'm just playing with him.
See, these are the libertarian incels that sit in their basement all day and watch porn and just fight with people on Twitter. This is 90% of the reason I walked away from the Libertarian Party was these fuckers have no life and no ability to actually be human beings and deal with the real world. All who have government jobs, by the way. Most of the goddamn pieces of shit libertarians I know all have government jobs. All like they work for the post office. They work for contractors. So like the whole thing of these people thinking that they're this superior person because they found Rothbard or they found these theories that actually don't work. These people are the same people that siphon everything off the government and sit home and jerk off in their parents' basement all day long.
Look, libertarian and communism both share the same origin story, and anarchism, we'll throw that in there as well. They are ideologies based around resentment. It's not that they hate the state and they want to demolish the state. They hate that they're not in charge of the state.
Yep.
So as soon as they would become in charge of the state, they wouldn't hate the state anymore. The state would be fine as long as they were in charge of it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
that's
as long as we're running it, it'll be good. And I've dealt with those guys. They can't get one person elected in any fucking office. How the hell are they going to do anything and manage anything in the government? They can't even elect a person in office. By force. Let's imagine that Dave Smith becomes president of the United States, just for shits and giggles, right? We know that they're actually not going to get anything done. Get on the press. That'd be fun. Sure, I can't stand it, but that would be fun.
Sure, whatever. Get a little like closet gay Jew and as a in positions of power. We haven't seen that before. That's always worked out well for us, by the way.
Yes, yes.
But what's the point? Okay, so let's say you get Dave Smith as president. Okay, and then what do you expect these other people to do? Well, they'll ban the nap as soon as it becomes inconvenient because
Yep.
they're going to have to force people to adopt their policies. And
Well,
if you don't
it's
adopt
like
their
the whole
policies, then-
homeless argument. Like the homeless guy has sparked the homeless argument. Like and like I've made the joke. It seems like Toad, Anarcho Toad. He's been coming around on some of this stuff. Like I've noticed him.
sorry, Trey. Just to interrupt for a second. I believe you mean unhoused.
Yeah,
Yes.
unhoused individuals.
Yes. Please
Yeah,
use
that's
the proper
new.
term. It's
The
offensive.
unhoused individuals.
We are on YouTube. Come on now.
Yeah. The unhoused individuals that now we if you're violating, they're supposed to be homesteading. They're homesteading these locations. Like in that when he was punching people in the subway, he was just homesteading that location. That's clearly what he was doing. That's part of
He's
the
just
libertarian
acting
theory.
out. He's just acting out his repressed anger from being
The reparations. He needs to-
that's just colonialization guilt. Affecting his behavior. He look, man. He's a black guy. He doesn't have agency. Come on now. Come on. He can't think for himself.
Have an expectation.
I've been off Twitter. I've been off everything. I just saw the story the other day
God bless.
about how New York's like gonna be Summer of Love 2 happening.
Well, I don't know if it will, because it seems like Mayor Eric Adams, like he did say like we're doing an investigation, but like AOC called him like a murderer, and he said I don't like we're gonna let the investigation play out, but that's not what I would term like I don't know. I forget how he worded.
How did that guy have the guy in a chokehold for 15 minutes though? That's my
because they were trying to restrain him because he was trying to punch everybody. He was trying to fight everybody.
No, I know that. But what I'm saying is that the reports is that he's being choked for 15 minutes. Like that's impossible.
Well, he didn't have he wasn't trying to choke him out. Like he was just trying to restrain him. It was a restraint.
I'm pretty sure he was trying to choke him out. If he had him in a rear naked choke, he was trying to choke him out. But because I'm just going off.
I don't know.
I'm going off
the video evidence looks like he's simply trying to hold the guy back from. I think they were trying to wait on cops. Like they were calling the cops on this dude, and they were trying to wait on the cops. So he was just literally trying to hold him until the cops got there.
I'm still very much a white belt in jiu-jitsu, but I've been on the receiving end of many rear naked jokes. They don't fall from the sky, and they don't take that long to take effect. So if this is my question is only on the reporting, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the reporting is that he was in a chokehold for 15 minutes, like that's impossible. The guy would be out.
You're expecting the reporters to actually be honest.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not expecting that.
Also, we don't know what his toxicology. Like they didn't get a toxicology report on him yet. I don't think, or they haven't released one.
It doesn't matter.
He could be.
It doesn't matter.
It does matter to some because like the.
What I'm saying is it doesn't matter in terms of how long he could withstand a chokehold. If he was put into a rear naked choke, like a legit rear naked choke by someone who knows how to apply that move, he would be out within 30 seconds. Like in terms of he would not be struggling or in any way a problem within 30 seconds of applying the choke. Like it that's how it works.
Yeah, I don't think it was fully 15 minutes. I think they're trying to extend that. I mean, I just like with the I think.
All I'm saying is that there's some bullshit here somewhere. I'm just trying to find out.
I don't.
There was bullshit. Hands up, don't shoot was bullshit. There was bullshit with George Floyd. He was higher than a kite. I mean, there's bullshit everywhere. Like, so you can't believe anything that the corporate press actually says or pushes. You just can't.
I just hope that guy gets out of there because like they are literally forming a lynch mob for him. For that,
oh no, he's that dude is Eric Chauvin 2.0. He's not getting out.
Yeah. No, he wasn't a cop.
No,
He just-
yeah, he wouldn't. He was just like another. He was
ex-Marine?
ex-marine. Yeah, ex-marine.
But if he pushed an Asian woman in front of a train, he'd be okay. They'd set him
Yeah.
free.
Yeah,
Well, depending on his skin color. I mean, come on. Like,
Yeah, this is true. This is true. So,
Yeah.
yeah, no, that guy's screwed.
yeah.
No matter what.
Either
There's-
they're gonna go after him or he's gonna go to jail. One way. Or
There's zero chance. There is zero chance this isn't somehow even reckless. What was it? Manslaughter or what was it? What's the cop charge underneath that? Is it reckless endangerment or?
Well, you'd probably be
that.
like they would probably just call it manslaughter or
no, they're going to try him for murder. They're going to do what
Probably.
they're going to do to him what they did to Chauvin, what they tried to do to Rittenhouse.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to
And
do everything they can to get that guy in jail and make him pay.
Unless
Yet they'll let the guy walk who shot the 2 cops last year for no reason. Just
shit.
walked up to 2 cops,
Oh.
popped him in the head, no big deal.
or like all
because
these
the-
other things where people are blatantly shooting people in broad daylight. Like,
Yeah,
because the criminals they want on the streets. Someone just posted this on Twitter. It was a really good post. Was that these are the shock troops.
yeah,
If you look at the people
Yeah.
that are letting go back on the streets, the mentally ill and certain criminals,
mhm.
it's a very particular style of criminals. They're not letting all the criminals back on the street. They're letting out
not
a
just the
certain
weed
amount-
heads or whatever. Like it's
Right.
they're letting the actual violent criminals who will do something.
with animosity, usually because of their racial identity, right, or class identity, that they could now use to target middle class people to keep them afraid. This whole
Yep.
thing is eventually targeting you towards 15-minute cities. You know, we have to keep you safe. Well, the only way to keep you safe is by condensing the cities down into these smart cities where everyone will be, you'll have your passes and you'll be safe. And isn't that what you really want? Because and they'll prove it to you by saying, like, do you want to be Chicago? You know, and if every suburban area becomes Chicago, people will accept it, and they'll accept it. You know, at least in America, they need to be afraid to accept it. And in Australia and Canada, they'll just have to go, we're just doing this, and everyone will go, yup, and they'll just do it. But which is
People,
the nice thing
wanting-
about this is, we don't really need the stick. We just it's all carrot here. So it's all carrot right up the ass.
To be honest, anyone wanting America to be like Chicago is pretty retarded.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.